Today we'll talk about what is vanishing gradient and exploding gradient problem, right? So vanishing gradient occurs when the gradients becomes very small that the networks cannot learn from the learning process. This typically happens when the gradients of the loss function, that is when the derivative of the loss function with respect to the weights are very small, and when they are propagated to the back to the layers of the network, especially the inner layers, the gradients don't change. Exploding gradient occurs when the gradients grow very large, causing the model parameters to become very large, and the training process to become this is specifically you will see that your validation error goes to zero. Why do vanishing gradients happen? Why do vanishing gradients or so when the input to these functions in the what do you mean by saturated rate in deep learning networks refers to the out refers to the input to the activation functions which are at extreme. For example, in sigmoid, if the input to the sigmoid function is 0 or 1, the gradients are very small. Basically, it means that there is no differentiation happening, and when there is the derivative is 0, there are the weights don't update. If you have not initialized your weights properly, and if they're too large, the gradients will explode. So, what are the solutions? You initialize weights with techniques like Xavier installations, where you are actually initiating the weights with zero mean and a specific variance, which kind of keeps the gradient stable. The gradients to using some specific non-saturating activation functions like a leaky relu, where even at the negative end there is a small out. Even for the negative small, so even when the input is at the saturating region, there is a small output, specifically called specifically for an activation function like leak. So then there is something called a batch normalization, which normalizes the input of each layer so that they have a mean of zero and variance. Gradient clipping, specifically if you set a threshold for the gradient, if it goes beyond a point, you clip it. This is very useful for dealing with exploding gradients. Thank you.